Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Cheese Doodle Day. Tony, what snack would you recommend?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. You want a great snack? You're looking at one. Huh?
Oh, okay.
Huh?
We're flexing to open the show, huh? Flexing. All right.
So,
I hear you.
do you like cheese doodles? Do you
No,
like
never
cheese
had
doodles?
them. No.
What do you mean?
Nah.
What do you mean you never had them?
Never had
never
one.
had
Don't
a
even know-
cheese doodle?
Don't even know what it is.
Really?
No idea.
It's a cheese doodle. It gets your hands get all orangey, but they taste pretty good.
Yeah,
if you
but,
eat one and then
so
you
eat
eat
Cheetos.
5, then you eat 300. You can't
Doritos.
stop once you get past
Doritos.
5.
Do that
Yeah,
for me.
pretty much. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Chiefs trade Joe Thuney, Roki Sasaki debuts for the Dodgers, and Kendrick Perkins joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with LeBron James becoming the first NBA player to exceed the 50,000 points barrier. Counting regular season and playoff games, LeBron is now at 50,033 after scoring 34 last night in the Lakers' win over New Orleans. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is second all-time in scoring, but it's a distant second, 44,149. The closest active player is Kevin Durant. He's about 15,000 points behind LeBron. Wilbon, what does this milestone mean to you?
Not a damn thing.
Player is Kevin Durant. He's about 15,000 points behind LeBron. Wilbon, what does this milestone mean to you?
Not a damn thing. Nothing.
Really?
It's numbers.
Okay.
I'm not part of the two generations that need numbers to appreciate or evaluate everything. I don't need to wake up and look at the box score and see that somebody had 25, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 5 to declare it a good night.
Right.
LeBron James is great. He has been great. And from the looks of the way he's playing now, he will be great. This year, he's one of no less than the 5 best players in the NBA again. He's been the best or second best or third best for the last 20 years. I don't need 50. That doesn't mean anything. When it was 49,999 before he hit the 3 to open the game, what, he was less? I needed a 3-point shot in the 20th year of his career to appreciate LeBron James. People need to put down the clips and watch the damn games. I watch the games. LeBron James is great. He does everything great. He's having another great season. It's not Luka Doncic's team. It's LeBron James's team. That's how I choose to watch, evaluate, and appreciate LeBron James. I don't need some sort of, oh, this is a milestone. It's a record. I don't need that. I'm sure others obviously do.
Yeah, I don't need it, but I like it. I like round numbers. I think they're important. I don't think that this milestone makes LeBron James the greatest player of all time. I will say that, because of the expanded playoff structure, he's been able to play in a lot more, considerably more playoff games than, for example, Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem or Michael Jordan. But 50,000 is a really big number, especially when you consider that the next active guy, Kevin Durant, who is a great scorer, and only 4 years younger than LeBron, is almost 15,000 points behind him. So as they say in Death of a Salesman, attention must be paid. Because I don't know how LeBron feels about this. I'm sure he's proud of it. I'm going to agree with you, I think, in principle. I think he's prouder of the fact that he had already long ago become the greatest scorer in terms of total points. Again, I want to point two things
played
out.
is a better number. His games played.
Right. More playoff games than others, and 4 years of college that he did not have to attend.
That's right.
50,000 is that is a major number. It's a major
it is a
number.
major number, but this just in.
Yeah.
LeBron is great. I think people's attention, they get distracted.
Let me go further.
And they look at the wrong things as opposed to just look at LeBron James. My God.
Let me go further on great.
Okay.
He's the greatest over 40 player ever.
Yes.
Like it's him and Tom Brady. There's him and Tom Brady.
There's no argument.
That's it.
None. Appreciate that.
Right.
Let's move.
By the way, Luka last night, 15 assists. 15 assists, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, they're not having any
Put these
trouble
games on
getting,
ESPN and TNT, boys.
Their chemistry together.
Yeah.
Spring training. Everybody got their first look at Roki Sasaki as a Dodger. The Japanese phenom threw 3 scoreless, allowed 2 hits, struck out 5. His fastball peaked at 99 and the Reds hitters described his stuff as, predictably, nasty, heavy, electric.
Yeah.
Tony, how should the Dodgers feel after the first peak?
They should feel great. The guy went 3 innings. He struck out 5. He didn't allow a run. I don't know what more you could have asked him to do. So they have Sasaki, and they put him together with Yamamoto, who they brought from Japan last year, and they get Kershaw back, and they get Glasnow back, and it's possible, and they've got Blake Snell, and it's possible that Ohtani is going to pitch this year. So you look at that and you think they're loaded with starting pitchers, and I would emphasize on paper, because this is what always happens with starting pitchers nowadays. Kershaw was out. Glasnow was out.
Yeah.
Ohtani didn't pitch at all.
Everybody has
last
Tommy
year.
John every year. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm different than you. I don't believe that baseball managers want to go to bullpen games, but they look in the dugout and sometimes they don't have any pitchers at all. The pitchers, you cannot count on them. They go down every single day. They're here today. They're gone this evening. They try to throw it so hard and then they can't pick up their arms. So with all of these things that the Dodgers have, it's on paper. That doesn't mean they have it all year. Doesn't.
Let me just go back for a second. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? They have to go to a bullpen day because they've de-emphasized starting pitching for 40 years. So they start with a bullpen day. Yeah, everybody's taught to throw and not pitch, but we always divert into that.
That's right.
Let me get into what I care about with the Dodgers, or my observation is. Everybody wants to come at the Dodgers starting, with somebody named Steinbrenner on the other side of the country. They want to come at the Dodgers and whine about how much the Dodgers spend. The Dodgers are also smarter. Maybe they have more money, but they're just smarter. They're more ambitious. They galvanize their resources and their intentions, and they say, we're coming to get you, and they do. That's what they do. I know they may have an advantage, it looks like, with pitchers in Asia, but a greater advantage than the San Francisco Giants or the Seattle Mariners or the San Diego Padres. No, not necessarily.
Well,
the Dodgers have a great intellect to go with the bank account. So, Ohtani was already in the Angels. He was already in the state.
And so when Ohtani went to the Dodgers, that may have given them an advantage. My point about pitching is it's fragile. It's fragile. Look at Ohtani. Now he's coming back from a modified Tommy John. Blake Snell last year, pitchers, he was protected, Blake Snell. He had 20 starts. He only threw 104 innings. The alternative is you can't pitch all year, which happened to 8 guys on the Dodgers. We'll see. Let's move to the NFL, where we have a trade to talk about. Kansas City Chiefs have traded 2-time All-Pro offensive guard Joe Thuney to the Bears for a 2026 fourth-round pick. Not this year's draft, next year's draft. Thuney played out of position much of the season at tackle because the Chiefs' offensive line was ineffective. Wilbon, is this more interesting for what the Bears are adding or what the Chiefs are trading away?
Well, first of all, the Bears have to deal with this year's protection of Caleb Williams, not next year's. Can't defer it. The Bears have to get better now. And even if they get a 32-year-old All-Pro, I would emphasize All-Pro. Because you know how many All-Pros the Bears have got on the offensive line right now? Not a damn one. So I am grateful for this. I woke up to this with my phone ringing off the hook because I am a proud Chicagoan, and so are a great many of my friends and relatives, and we are celebrating today. Now, there's still more work to be done. The Bears have added 3 offensive linemen this week, and they're going to have to add 2 or 3 in the draft and use some more of that free agent money to get another lineman or 2. They have to revamp the line. And Ben Johnson told them when he was being interviewed, we're going to do this or I'm not coming. So they're making good on it. To me, is a great place to start. They need interior protection more than anything. 2 guards and a center. And they're still looking for help, but this is a great place to start. Kansas City already drafted, though he was a tackle in college, his replacement and put him in place, moved him to guard last year. Kansas City already had a succession plan for losing him. Both teams know what they're doing in this case.
Yeah, well, you're Mr. Bear and I'm not, so I'm not going to talk about Chicago Bears protecting Caleb Williams, which they didn't last year. 68 sacks, I believe, the most in the NFL, and they got to keep that young man alive. They got to do exactly what you said in the offensive line. I would be a little less surprised. I'm surprised at this. I would be a little less surprised if Kansas City was trying to trade for an offensive lineman rather than trading away an offensive lineman, because I, like 190 million other people, watched the Super Bowl and saw the Eagles with a 4-man rush get all over Patrick Mahomes time and time and time again. So my only conclusion, Mike, is that they looked at tape, Kansas City looked at tape and thought that Tooney was not as good as he once was when he was all-pro, when he was a starter on 4 Super Bowl champions, 2 in Kansas City and 2 in New England.
You know, all-pro just now.
Was he all?
Yeah.
Oh, he was all-pro this year, even playing at tackle half the year?
At least
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. And they franchised their guard because they know they need linemen. So I'm thinking you wouldn't trade him away unless you felt he had slipped a little bit.
Or if you had drafted his replacement, then you would trade him away, and that's what they think they did.
You could do that, but to get a 4th-round pick in 2 years is not what an all-pro is worth. It's not. How should Klay Thompson feel about everything going on with the Mavericks? We don't have him on the show, so we'll ask Kendrick Perkins.
We'll also ask him whether Kevin Durant's interaction with Coach Bud last night is something or nothing. It's what you're worth at 32. Hey, at 32, he's got a couple of years left. It helps us.
Do me a favor. Say hi to Don for us the next time you're on the phone with him.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you do it during the break, say hi to Don.
Tony says hello.
We've got NBA questions for our great friend from NBA Today, Mr. Kendrick Perkins. And Perk, I want you to start by pretending that you are Klay Thompson. You have joined the Mavericks. The team trades Luka. Anthony Davis comes in, Anthony Davis gets hurt. Kyrie tears his ACL, and your old team, the Warriors, is cruising along with Jimmy Butler. So as Klay Thompson, what are you thinking now?
Well, now if I'm Klay Thompson, I'm thinking about I need to be on my best for us on the floor. Because this is an audition right now for Klay Thompson, right? Because think about it. He hasn't been the Klay the Dallas Mavericks expected him to be. You are auditioning because the one thing the Dallas Mavericks are going to do this offseason is try to upgrade their roster around Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving so that they could try to win a championship in the next 2 to 3 years. So if you Klay Thompson, you don't have an opportunity or a chance to think about what Golden State is doing because you have to focus on Klay and making sure you keep in good faith with the Dallas Mavericks.
Tony, I see that's an answer I bet neither one of us thought about, which is why we like having Perk on the show. Let's move to Phoenix. Well, I sort of already moved there, but I'm upset. A lot of people upset with the Suns. Kevin Durant, as you know, pulled his arm away from Coach Bud last night, and everybody jumped to all kind of conclusions, even though KD praised Bud afterward, and Bud said this is what happens. I think this is a complete non-issue, Perk, but you have been on teams your whole life. You saw things like this on the sideline in real time. Big deal, little deal, or no deal?
It's a big deal, but it's a big deal in a great way. And look, I watched Doc Rivers meet Kevin Garnett at half court to tell him and curse him out about a play that he messed up, right? I watched Greg Popovich meet Tim Duncan at half court as well to tell him about himself. And guess what? Thank you, Coach Bud, for ruffling the feathers, because that's exactly what needed to happen, because we saw what happened after that. Kevin Durant got into his feelings, and then all of a sudden he went on the tear in that second half, in that fourth quarter, and they got a much-needed win. And here's the thing. All it takes is one win to have some type of hope, belief in that locker room. The fans were engaged. The building was rocking. I even saw at one point Kevin Durant, he was dabbing up and high-fiving everyone. So this is a building block for the Phoenix Suns this season. Do I think they could make a major push in the postseason? No, but I do think that 10th spot is for them to go take. And the only way that they could go take it with this remaining schedule that they have, which is very, very hard, is by coming together. And I thought last night they came together when it mattered the most, and it's a great starting point.
Perk, you just gave me a little hope out of nowhere. I was not feeling that until we got that answer from you. All right, LeBron and Channing Frye, we're going to go back a few days. They talked about being the face of the league and how it's not worth it because all people do is criticize. I thought that was whiny, among other things, even though there might have been some good points. But your thoughts, looking back, you've had some time to think about what those guys said and the whole face of the league notion of whether there's too much criticism of today's game.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you and Tony this, Wilborn. You were there covering Michael Jordan, right, throughout his career. Didn't he face criticism? Wasn't when he was in a battle with the New York Knicks, wasn't there articles and people talking about his gambling habits and things of that nature? Wasn't Kobe Bryant criticized?
Ooh.
So,
Yes.
I mean, it comes with the territory. When you enter your name in the draft, okay, it comes with fortune and it comes with fame. Some of it is not, a lot of the times it's going to be good fame, a lot of times it's going to be bad fame. So what? So what? It's what you signed up for. And by the way, a lot of this is self-inflicted when it comes down to LeBron James. Because LeBron James, when he was appearing on his show, The Shop, didn't he call himself the GOAT? He called himself the GOAT, right? Okay, so when you do that, guess what? Then now you're comparing yourself to other greats and you're sparking a conversation and an argument that's going to be had. Okay, on top of that, you remember two years ago, I believe it was, he went on his Twitter, which is now X, and he said, I'm basically sitting here and I'm watching the basketball game right now and I'm laughing because Bronny is better than half of these guys I'm watching right now. Isn't that criticizing the NBA? Okay, so you can't have your cake and your ice cream. You got to pick and choose a side, man. And it comes with the territory. At the end of the day, guys got to stop being so soft. It's a lot of people in a lot of worse positions than actually getting criticized about the game of basketball.
We'll get out of here now because I'm going to go have cake and ice cream, whether you let me do it or not. Thank you, Perk.
Thank you, Perk. Appreciate it.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, let's take one last break. Still to come, the Seahawks say goodbye to one of their top receivers and may do so with another.
And as top-ranked Auburn's loss to Texas A&M a cause for concern. That was a beating. They were down double digits in that game.
Yeah.
Perk just slayed it. He laid it out.
Yeah.
I wasn't even expecting those particular.
Happy time, people. Happy 26th birthday, Justin Fields. The former Ohio State quarterback is about to become a free agent. Fields is also the former Chicago Bears quarterback, quite possibly the former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. Fields was dumped by the Bears, so he couldn't conflict with their number one draft choice, Caleb Williams. Fields was traded to the Steelers, where he was dumped as the starter in favor of Russell Wilson when Wilson was healthy enough to play after Fields had started 6 games and had a 4-2 record. Wilson's record as starter was ultimately 6-5. The Steelers could sign either of them or let them go. Wilbon, you have loved Fields. Where will he end up?
I love him. I still do love him. And, Tony, I just hope it's not with the Giants. But how about the Raiders? I don't know. Are they set at the position? Look, there's about, to me, no more than 15 to 17 quarterbacks who are what I'd call entrenched. Everybody else is movable. And the Raiders don't have anybody. I don't have Darryl LaMonica. But just don't wind up with the Giants. That's all I ask. Or the Jets.
Happy anniversary, Mike Bossy. This is posthumous, but on this day 40 years ago, the Islanders winger became the first player in NHL history to score 50 goals in 8 straight seasons when he got numbers 50 and 51 against the Flyers. Bossy finished the season with 58, then got 61 goals the next season, giving him 9 straight 50-goal seasons. Only Wayne Gretzky has as many as 8 straight besides Bossy. Alex Ovechkin has 9 seasons of 50 or more goals, but never more than 3 in a row. Bossy played 10 seasons in the NHL, was Rookie of the Year in 1978, won the Conn Smythe in 1982, played on 4 straight Stanley Cup champions with the Islanders.
Tony, given Bossy's individual accomplishments, which you just mentioned, and he led 4 Stanley Cup champions, there's not nearly enough talk about Bossy as one of the handful of all-time greats. But it's the 10 seasons, isn't it? Only played 10. That's amazing.
That's it. Happy trails to the Seahawks for Tyler Lockett and potentially DK Metcalf. Seattle released Lockett today in a move that will save them $17 million. Lockett has nearly 8,600 yards and 61 touchdowns receiving over 10 seasons with the Seahawks. Second in franchise history only to Steve Largent. Meanwhile, two-time Pro Bowler DK Metcalf has requested a trade, preferably to a contender. The 6'4", 235-pound speedster has never had fewer than 900 yards receiving in any of his 6 seasons in the league. The Seahawks apparently plan to retain their number 1 receiver from last season, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Ooh, I'm excited about Lockett being out there and available if he still is by the time we get off the air. He's too good to be available long.
One clarification, Joe Tooney, All-Pro last season at guard, but not a tackle where he played after Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Quick to the big finish. Number 1 Auburn fell on the road to number 22 Texas A&M. Is that a big deal?
Not really, but a second straight loss would be a big deal in that conference. The Red Sox pushed back Rafael Devers' spring training debut after discomfort during BP. Your thoughts?
Could be injuries. He's had them. It could be he's angry about third base. FIFA is adding a halftime show to the 2026 World Cup final. Okay with you?
No, they're doing this because it's at MetLife and they're going to copy the NFL. No, it's not okay with me. Bengals defensive end Sam Hubbard is retiring from football at the age of just 29. You surprised?
More disappointing. He's a Cincinnati kid. He's had injuries. It's a rough game. Last one, 5th-ranked Florida at number 7 Alabama tonight. Is that significant?
Probably. But I know Jay Billis comes on and tells us how great the SEC is from top to bottom. I'm still skeptical just a little bit. Maybe not as big as others think.
He's knocking you, Jay. I love you. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. Now, love you, Jay. You're
All right, Wilbon. Why don't the Cavaliers get respect from the public as title contenders?
Interesting and legit question, Tony. Because they play in Cleveland. And I know we're a ways away from the 1980s and even 90s when Cleveland used to be the butt of so many jokes nationally. It goes back to a long time, back to 1969 when the river caught fire. And then so many things happened to Cleveland and in Cleveland. And then people help restore, give Cleveland sort of a new reputation. LeBron James, Jim Thome, Bernie Kosar. Sports stars helped change Cleveland, and they won to an extent, even if everybody didn't win everything. LeBron certainly did. But Cleveland has suffered with this, and now you get a team that has no real stars. Donovan Mitchell is a star player, but it's not a glamorous market, and free agents don't flock there, and they don't talk about having a big 3. But that team is deep and talented and balanced and well-coached, and I think they're a real threat to win the whole thing, whether people know who's in Cleveland or not. I know who's there.
Yeah, so let's go back to those names you just mentioned, LeBron James, Jim Thome, and Bernie Kosar. The last star in Cleveland in any sport was LeBron when he helped win a championship there, and then he went on his way. They have not had a star since then. I'm not saying they don't have good players. They don't have the star attraction.
Right.
We sit on this show, and though we don't talk about the Cowboys every day, we talk about the Lakers every day. We talk about the Warriors every day. We talk about the Celtics every day. Why do we talk about these teams? Because they're not only good or have been good, but because they have great stars. Cleveland does not have that. You have bemoaned this on this show that we should talk about Oklahoma City more because they do have a great star, but nobody knows about the team. And the NBA doesn't promote these teams like Oklahoma City and like Cleveland. They're going to have to win it on their own. And they've got the best record in the league and they can win it, but this group of players, to be fair, has only won 1 playoff series. They haven't knocked on the door hard and burst through the door. They haven't done that yet.
I will give you a bit of credit in closing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Now, I'll give you a bit of credit. The other day when we were talking about MVPs, you mentioned actually Donovan Mitchell and said, wait a minute, why aren't Garland and Mitchell getting votes? I'll give you credit because I think you're the only person on the network that has mentioned those guys as they lead a team to the best record in the league. So golf clap for you, Mr. Kornheiser.
Everybody else on the network is wondering if Dak will still get his money, and I was able to focus on something else.
That's a good place to get out. We're done. I love Donovan Mitchell. Back to you.